Poonj, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar. A lot of you probably know Bridgeable. So Shobha, Damayanti and I are very happy to host this first webinar on a very, very important topic that's bothering all of us. So I'm sure all of you are involved in some kind of relief effort or the other, both in your the countries where you live and in India. So the idea behind this webinar is to get a big picture and what we can do at the ground level picture from somebody who's extremely qualified to give us this information and share with us what's going on the ground. As you all know, Poonj is a pioneer in disaster management with the ability to reach the different parts of the country at very short notice given their extensive network. So we were really grateful when Anshu agreed to talk to us about what's going on in India and how we can add value both from here and also in terms of just getting a good solid understanding of the issues. So I would now pass the mic to Anshu to brief us. If you have any questions, please, mostly it should get answered during the presentation, but then feel free to type it in the chat box. And at the end of the presentation, we will request Anshu to address our questions. In the meantime, Anshu, thank you for joining us, and please, we are eager to listen to you.
Thank you, my pleasure. And I think we will spend about an hour together on this, and this is absolutely a new form of communication for all of us. I mean, we are especially too used to of meeting all the people and hug each other and then talk about all these things. But somehow this is a completely different way we all are operating. And my, part of it will be very, very disturbing also because in the middle of entire COVID thing, we are also going through a very, massive cyclone in West Bengal and parts of Odisha. So, I mean, it's just further distress. I don't know what is happening. Today morning, only one of my colleagues we were just talking and she said, sir, हमको 2020 delete कर देना चाहिए. We should delete 2020 from our calendars now. I mean, the way things are happening. But of course, I mean, we all need to be, just up in our spirit and do whatever, we all can. So many of you for sure know about Poonj, but I'll just share a simple slide on that so that we do the recap. And because why it is important, because I think in the last 2 decades as Poonj, we were just trying to, I think, create a grid in the country, a grid of relationships, pipeline between the cities and the villages, pan-India. So we otherwise operate in 25 states and union territories and work with hundreds of partner organizations and all. But never in our life, to be honest, we imagined that a day will come in our life when the entire grid will be of some use. It's not a happy feeling for sure. I mean, this is first time in our life when we see a pan-India disaster. I mean, obviously it is pan-globe, but if I talk about Indian context, otherwise every single disaster which we handled, apart from poverty, is always used to happen in one geography, and then other geographies, other people used to be standing to support that area, whether it is Uttarakhand flood or Kerala flood. We all know those earlier disasters with a specific geographical name also. This is one disaster which we are talking about. If I talk about India, we talk about India, and every second person that way is really, really affected. And now the millions is becoming a small number in terms of the people who are migrating or who have gone back to the villages in the most distressed situation. When I remember, I was just talking to a couple of my colleagues, who were there in this Sundarbans, this 24 Pargana area yesterday in West Bengal, which is very severely affected by the recent cyclone. And they were actually sending pictures of how now at the end of almost 2 months of desperate walking, a lot of people are actually coming in the big buses back to the villages, and absolute desperation, absolute distress. So let me just run through this small PPT. just to give you a basic idea of, is it visible there? Because I'm also new to these things. Amina, is it visible?
I can
Can
see.
you all see?
I can see.
You can see?
I can see a slide. It simply says Goonj. Is that the slide? The first slide is Goonj?
No, it says knowing Goonj and then the snapshot. Are you able to see that?
No.
Okay, I mean that's the usual problem we have done many times, but still we are not able to figure out a solution. Give me a minute. Even now?
No,
No.
cannot see.
Anyway, no problem, no problem. I'll just wait for a minute. If it doesn't happen, we will talk without it. That's not an issue, because not. Although it's
Danya says you can share the screen, Anshu. Does that? That's what.
yeah. Now?
It says has started screen sharing, but not. Yeah, now we can see.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you know, this is just to take you through the Goon journey. Many of you know that we started working on cloth, and then a lot of you have heard those stories of why all this started. With the cloth, but that's going on. And to be honest, we will again see that how an important role is played by the clothing in this particular disaster, because after the food, which is obviously the desperate situation right now, one of the bigger need is coming from people is actually of clothing. So in the last 21 decades, it is our presence in about parts of 25 states and union territories, 1,000 plus team all across the country, and a very strong network of a few hundred organizations with about 250 active organizations, and otherwise also, which includes local panchayats, community-based organization, border road organization, units of Indian Army, and all. And what we did in the last few years, and I'm setting this context because I think this 2 decades of this work has been very, very useful for us to at least do a little bit in this particular massive disaster. The first important part of Goonj was always that we were always and always against the charity. We always opposed the word donor and beneficiary. And this disaster has actually proved that the people who were called beneficiaries, or whom we have been calling beneficiaries for years, have been actually the donor, because the beneficiaries are the people who are inside the houses and who have been eating rice and atta and whatever, and the people. I mean, it's a simple disaster which has happened in a way that people who made houses for us are homeless, and people who have been growing food for us are actually in the queue for 100 grams of cooked meals. And that's a very sad situation, because I think it's also a big thappad or a blot on people like us. And don't think that I am a pessimist person and I only talk negative, but I think a few minutes of this talk also need to be next to the reality, because one thing in India which is bothering many of us, and I think it should bother more people, that what suddenly happened that millions of people didn't trust us for even a minute. What went wrong? How come these millions of people didn't trust the most popular governments, municipalities, corporates, employers, contractors, RWAs, or wherever they were staying? Despite the fact that they knew that, they have to walk thousands of or hundreds of kilometers, they knew that trucks are not there, buses are not there, trains are not there, still they started walking. So I believe that this disaster has, if we really want to learn, I don't know how many of us will learn, but I can see that sentiment, among many people, that this is a good learning opportunity for us, and understand that somewhere we have gone wrong in humanity, somewhere we have gone in values, somewhere we have not really given value to fellow human being, because we always kept talking about this beneficiary. I mean, this is one country where we value, food much more than the farmer, where agriculture has never been a priority, where we focus more on the cities, less in the villages. where we have used 70% of our population to produce for the cities only. And imagine even today, the farmer is an unskilled person. The farming is an unskilled profession. And same person we bring to the city like Delhi and Bombay, make that person a driver or plumber, and start calling that person a skilled person. So I always wonder that someone, who has been able to innovate 100 different variety of rice, how come that person is not called a skilled person? I mean, anything which me and you do, in terms of innovation, that is called innovation. And if a financially weaker person does something, then we call it a jugaad. So this is something which is talking about lot of dignity, lot of language that, and I think introspection that something went wrong. Okay, it's not that everything was wrong, but something went wrong. So we started talking about dignity-led development. We said that charity might be a very favorite subject of the doer of charity, but charity is not a subject of the person who is receiving it. I mean, I remember yesterday my team in Delhi was almost in tears because they're going in the night to give whatever to people. And at New Delhi railway station, we have lots and lots of people. So this team just went there and gave some chappals, right? Some slippers, because people have been walking. So there was this elderly man standing, there, and he was just haath jod ke, like this. He was doing this, and he was just saying one thing: "Saab mat karo ye sab. Don't do all this." And then people come and people say ki we were never beggars. We are forced to be in these queues. Because all these perceptions about that people, are just at the receiving end and call them beneficiary, take pictures of them. I'm so surprised even today in this particular disaster where large number of people have been absolutely fantastic, beautiful, who are standing with us. But there are a lot of jokers also who still need a TikTok video, from the field, who still want a picture with the victim. I mean, we are telling them that there is some concept called social distancing, which itself is a wrong concept, because I think it's a wrong word which unfortunately has been chosen. We have been advocating that it's actually not social distancing, because socially we need to be much more closer now. Right? We have to stand with each other. It is a physical distancing. So even in that era, you are asking for those kind of pictures and happy thing, and giving 1 liter of milk to someone and then clicking a picture, going to the areas where the sex workers are there and clicking a pictures with them also, for half a liter, 1 liter of milk. So I think we just removed all that and we said, let the work speak, and let's value people who are not beneficiaries but the stakeholder. And I'll explain it, in the next few slides. And we also said that can we also work on the local economies? I mean, I still feel, and I know, there are a lot of learned economists who might have a different point of view, but a lot of people are actually saying the same thing, which I am trying to say, that even today, agriculture is a big solution. Even today, agriculture and related activities can actually give jobs to much larger population than any other factory or something. Right? So we also spoke about local economies, and we said that can we actually do the barter economy? So in a typical model, material which we collect from the cities that goes through a very rigorous process, and that goes to the village. Village communities work for themselves. They work on water. They work on sanitation, infrastructure, agriculture, whole lot of activities, and then they receive the material. And the other important part, that while doing this, we also created a very strong network of people, of partnerships, very widespread, very deep rooted in the Sundarbans of West Bengal to the the tribal belts of Maharashtra, all kind of communities. I think, and that is what is actually is useful for us in this particular disaster. Let me just come to this now after, because Goonj, whatever you want to know, just go on goonj.org and you will still get a lot of glimpses. So this is what it is. You all have seen, and it is going on. It is not stopped, and more people are now migrating, because first few days people were able to do something or whatever resources they had. Second month they are not able to pay rents. Third month, they are certainly not able to pay rent. I mean, yesterday, the team met a family where Husband, had some foot injury. There are 4 kids and or other members in the family, and the landlord in the second month actually told that lady that now your husband will not be able to earn because the foot is not in the working condition, and you leave. And that's how this lady and her family was shunted out, because all these people whom you see in this picture were actually staying in rented accommodation. Very, very ugly to see that how people are using the word migrant workers. I think people like me we do not remember that I am also a migrant worker. Almost every single politician sitting in Delhi is a migrant worker. Every single big business tycoon is a migrant worker. Who is a migrant worker? Someone who migrated from his or her own place and shifted to some other place and is working. Unfortunately, the people who are on the roads are called migrant worker. And when you talk to them, and I have my personal collection of pictures in this particular region, obviously I couldn't move out of more than 50, 60, 100 kilometers this time because of all kind of restrictions. And in any case, with the area where I'm staying was in red zone, and then also in the containment zone. So that's a different story. But if you see, these are the people who are here for many decades. These were well settled. I mean, 9 dead bodies which we got in the say Telangana recently. You must have read, in a well. Almost 6 of them from a family were settled down there for 20 years in a factory. So these are not like seasonal migrant people. They were well settled. I mean, because of whom we all have progressed in our life. These are not, again, rare pictures. These are still going on. Today itself, if you read a story of, say in ndtv.com, you will find that almost 2,000 people is still crossing Yamuna near Saharanpur in UP and all, on foot, obviously, almost every day. So these are like little kids, all kind of kids, and yes, now after a certain point, the buses are arranged, the train is arranged, but the number is really, really gone up like anything. And because the bus is arranged till a certain point, so again they have to go back to the villages. And unfortunately, in the villages also and on the route, they're not getting good treatment. I mean, because there was one person whom we just spoke from Tikamgarh in Madhya Pradesh, and in that entire journey, he was actually beaten up by 9 times by the local police or the people. But the fact also remains that this very tough journey of hundreds of kilometers of these people of all age group.
Oh. Okay. That's his technical person. She's there. Okay.
Hello. Yeah. So, Meena, am I audible or not?
Yes, it's audible.
Okay. Yeah. So this is also, I think, a beautiful thing. The way the civil society, the way the civilians have done a wonderful job in this entire story, because we have hundreds of beautiful stories where when the people were walking and how the village communities, the cities communities really came out. They cooked meal, they took care of people. So, I mean, it's not that just the negative stories, but a large number of positive stories also on the way. And maybe that is the reason that some people are able to survive this huge journey. But yes, it's a complicated time, because when they reach back their villages, it's not that they are welcome immediately. Uh, they are kept aside. They are not able to touch the normal water, shops, and all those things. And unfortunately, because the country has been ignoring the government school systems, and those school systems and little panchayat bhavan are the only centers for the quarantine for hundreds of people. And if you see today, the Bihar is actually now picking up in terms of number of cases, because large number of people have gone there and there are not enough testing and all. And there are lots and lots of side effects of the disaster. It's not only the recent distress. So if we can divide it in three parts, one is the question of immediate hunger and survival, for sure, for millions and millions of people. Second part, because India is a country of informal economy. Informal economy, we always feel that it's a strength, and I consider it's a strength. But in the informal economy, for 2.5 months, people do not get even daily wages. You can understand the stress on people. And the informal economy, we also have systems where people take loans at the interest rate of anywhere between 5 to 15% per month. So if you need about 100 rupees to feed a family every day, 2 kg of ration or whatever, you actually end up taking that 100 rupees at an interest rate of 15 rupees, 12 rupees per month. And that's what is happening all across in many areas. We can see that distress. So that is the second part, because the loan sharks are active. So that's becoming a problem. And the third important part is that which all of us really are trying to see, that it should not happen, that further distress migration should not happen. It should not happen that the people who are forced to leave the cities in certain inhuman conditions, they go to the villages and unfortunately again come back after a few months because we are not able to take care of them in the villages. So this is a time, if we see the positive part of it, because at the end of the day, we can talk a lot about these negative things, but what we need to build up, we need to see this as an opportunity to, I think, correct certain things. So I believe this is a time to really, really work a lot for rural India. This is a time when we understand that 70% people, if they are there in village India, there are 70% customers also who are there in the villages. So in our efforts, we are doing a lot that why can't the village people start producing for the villages first, and then they start producing for the cities to start with. What do we do in terms of employment generation and all on the village, in the village level, that people are not forced to migrate, and only people migrate, they migrate by choice, but not by, by compulsion. These are some of the, some of the reports which are coming, from all across. Of course, poverty is going to become a big problem, and as many of you have been a part of these initiatives in India in different ways, with different institutions, I think you would agree that as Gunj, at least for sure, we are feeling that the work of the last 2 decades in many areas, we will have to redo the work, because when you spend years, with the weavers, with the farmers, with the communities, you spend actually years to bring them back, bring them from minus to zero. But this particular disaster has actually again pushed a lot of people to minus. So I think this is a time when all of us really need to do as much as possible, and we need to take people as stakeholders. We need to value the farmers and the farming products, because as I was saying in another one of the session, that unfortunately the world, and especially this disaster, has divided the world or this country in 2 parts. There are only 2 kind of people now in this country. One, the people who have food; other, the people who do not have food. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, what caste, what community, what religion, who cares? It's just about the people with food and the people without food. People who have food are inside the walls. People who do not have food are mostly outside the walls and walking. When I can give you a very simple example, Gunj has about 1,200 people as of now, who are directly, indirectly working with us, whether as piece rate people or as daily wager or whatever. And I can tell you a simple example, and I don't know how long we will be able to sustain it, but I can tell you that in this entire crowd of millions, not even a single person out of those 1,200 people was there. And we are a small, tiny organization. We do not even earn our own money. We depend on people's money because we are a not-for-profit. We are not allowed to make profits and sustain a lot of things. So it is certainly a question and a question mark that why did these people leave? What were they looking for? They were just looking for a little bit of food security. And even today, if you spend about 2,000 rupees, you can make sure that for 15 days, a family can still survive. They might not get the tasty food, they might not get the nutritious food, but they can still get dal chawal namak, which can make sure that they will at least survive for 15 to 20 days. I mean, a kit which we are doing for about 3,000 rupees is actually taking care of people for almost 25 to 30 days. And I'm not saying that it's a very good food or nutritious food and all that, but we can guarantee that people will not die of starvation. This is the picture of Kolar in Karnataka, which grows tomatoes like anything. And this is how the farmers have been throwing it all across because there is no taker. This is what we have done in the last few weeks of our work. It has crossed almost about 1.2 million kgs of ration and other supports to people in parts of about 23 states. These are just figures. I think every Monday we release a report with the current data and all. And we are able to do it because we completely decentralize the model. Because we said that A, you have to reduce the human touch. B, you have to reduce the burden on logistics. So we actually changed the normal model of hub and spoke of Gunj to reaching out to these families all across. And I'll tell you what kind of approaches we have. So this is just the phase one, some pictures of our various stores. This is the first time Gunj actually got into cooked meal. We were trying to cook ourselves also, or we were trying to really channelize the food which was cooked by other people. So almost about 126,000 meals like that, what you see in that small truck. A very important part, what we started doing right from the beginning, we said that the first picture which you saw of Kolar, and this is a common picture of many states of India because it's an absolutely perishable thing, and because the entire supply chain was broken for some time, and there were no buyers, there were no truckers, so that's where people had to really, throw away this material. So we started reaching out to the farmers all across the country. In the last few weeks, we have done about 67,000 kgs of vegetables, which we purchase directly from the farmers, not at the cost price, not at the distress price, because unfortunately in Indian farming, it's a very interesting part you would know that they only actually, when they do the calculation in terms of their cost, they only calculate the cost of the raw material. They never ever add their own wages in that. So very sad story came from Bihar, where a farmer was ready to sell his green chili, absolutely fresh green chili, for 400 rupees a quintal, which means 4 rupees a kg, because they were not even able to recover their prices. So that's how the team actually, first time, much more than the clothing, we started working on the vegetables. So these are like fresh vegetables which are procured from the farmers directly. Then we started creating vegetable kits, for people, which was created there. So it supported a lot the rural economy. And then in our family kits, we also added seeds, so that the moment they take it out, they again do it, and they get the seed, and in the next 1.5 months, again they have something to eat. It added a lot of nutrition in the entire process. I mean, 1 kg dal is equal to almost 8, 10, 12 kg of kaddu or whatever, all those vegetables. So it added that in the entire chain also. So this is going on. This is something we are doing at a very large scale, and we are not limiting ourselves to vegetables, but we are also reaching out to the people with different kind of millets, ragi, bajra, jowar, all those things which are, because food is a very localized thing. And in the last 2 decades, we also learned that if we want to give basmati tukda, that is absolutely fine in northern India, but in southern India, it will not work. In northern India, we can give chana dal, but in southern India, we have to give tur dal. I think that's how we have really localized all our efforts, so that you cannot make sambar with the chana dal, or even if you make it, you will not like it. But tur dal is the dal for sambar. So that's how all the entire team has been working. some of these experiments all across. This first picture is very interesting picture, and these are sad stories, but still, you know, you see some happiness somewhere. So these are the people from Madhya Pradesh who were walking, and between our offices in Sarita Vihar in Delhi. So on one side you have Haryana border, on the other side you have UP border. And 2 o'clock in the afternoon they came here in this area, and till about 2 a.m. in the night for 12 hours. Many times they were shutted out from the borders. So these guys were not accepting them in UP, and those guys were not accepting them in Haryana. And it's about 4 or 5 times they were just walking hungry and all that. And then they spent suddenly in our night visits and all, we found them. And one of the things which we did, we collect these lot of prams, fine, and we never knew what to do with it. I mean, we channelize those prams, but this is a time we actually channelize a large number of prams. So we said that in any case, unfortunately, you have to walk. And the moment they get a pram and see the beautiful picture, of this kid, unfortunate that people have to walk so much, for sure. Very important part, this slide is extremely important for all of us to understand the larger context, fine. So the village community is absolutely ignored, because so far what has happened in India, I can tell you, the first focus was the people, the migrants who were stuck in the cities who wanted to go out. So that was the first focus for all the corporates, all the foundations, or the people who were working. And it was very overwhelming. I mean, to feed millions of people stuck in the cities is not a joke. Then for the last about 1 month or more, the entire focus has been on the people who are walking. Even in my presentation, you saw many pictures of people who are walking hundreds of kilometers all across. So the focus actually is that. What has not been in the focus is already resource-starved villages of India. At the end of the day, in this particular disaster, no one is walking from the village to the city. Everyone is walking from the city to the village. Villages already have resource issues. The economy of villages also have not worked, that well. You have seen the pictures of those vegetables, just to give you an example. I mean, one example which I've been giving to people, that if I do not get tomato in my city, so my sambar, my rasam, my rajma does not have the same taste. But if I see the entire process of it, from the farmer who was growing to the trucker who was carrying, to the labor who was loading, to the wholesale mandis and all, it was a complete chain which was destroyed. So we focused a lot, not that, I mean, all these 1.26 lakh meals, obviously we provided in the cities only, and a large part of ration is also, we are working in cities, but we also reached out to the villages in a big way, because we realized, and even if you see the cover picture of our campaign, that's the picture of people walking, right? We anticipated that, but we never knew that it will happen in such big, huge way. I mean, we could never calculate, we could never anticipate that. No one could, to be honest. So we started reaching out to the people, and then what we found, that within the missing communities or missed out communities, there are some much more neglected communities. So if you see the transgenders and the sex workers, they will take now months and years to come back to their profession. And they're the people who do not even go out to ask for something. If you see leprosy patients, if you see weavers and artisans, like in any other disaster, you go to the weaver and artisan and make sure that their work comes back. Now the larger problem is that even if the weaver start weaving a sari, or an artisan, or a craftsman start making a bamboo, some nice showpiece, where is the market for that? There's no instant market available for the people. Right? Look at the condition of tea garden people. We are working with them in Assam and West Bengal. Absolute pathetic condition. HIV positive people of Northeast and some other places. Devadasis in Karnataka. The brick kiln worker or the sugarcane industry worker in Maharashtra and Bid has almost 20,000 plus people. So that is where we are just, spreading as much as possible with the people, and with the institution. Now, this is one important picture. This picture is of before this disaster, just to give you a glimpse. As you know, I mean, our very flagship initiative is called Cloth for Work, which we changed slowly to Dignity for Work, because our cloth kit was not only having cloth, so it was creating a lot of confusion. So now it is called Dignity for Work. And this is all started in the villages now of the people, because we have hundreds of stories. I don't know if you read that story of Rajasthan, where people actually went to offer some food to these guys. And in Hindi, these people say, "Ki hum muft mein nahi lenge, we will not take it in free." So this guy said, "But then what? You do not have money. And if you do not have money, how will you really take, or you will die, of hunger." So this guy says, "Ki hum bhooke mar jayenge, but muft mein nahi lenge. We'll die of hunger, but will not take it in free." So I think it is a time for all of us. If you remember, in all my earlier talks also, I've been talking a lot about dignity of people, and how the self respect of the people in the villages is actually intact even today. They are not beggars. And when we go for these with the migrant laborers, when we were doing the distribution, it is so complicated, so sad to see. When the women comes in the queue, and they're so uncomfortable, because they were living a very dignified life somewhere. Even if they were earning 15,000-20,000 rupees as family, they never went out to ask for something. They just said 2 onion, but they were making nice dal sabji with that. They never went even to the neighbor to ask for it. Unfortunately, this entire disaster has made so many people, as if they are beggars, but they are not. This is what we have revived again. So in the moment we found that agriculture activities are open after the lockdown phase 2, people have started working on their wells, on their bridges, and a large part of our work is actually happening on farming, group farming. So in Jharkhand and Kerala, the group farming has already started. In Bihar, we are working on roads. In Odisha and all, we are working on ponds. So the simple model is that people are working on these activities, and then after that, they are receiving the material. Don't get confused with this particular picture, because this is an old picture of one activity. For sure, in this new era of life, the physical distancing is maintained, and people are wearing masks. I mean, whatever is important to make sure that we do not further spread anything and people do not suffer more, we are certainly taking all the precautions. This is something which is extremely important for all of us, and you see a picture on the right side, which is the Kerala, group farming now. So we had this major initiative called WAPSI, post Bihar flood, where we worked with more than 22,000 people. This is basically to look for the rural or the small town livelihood. A simple calculation I'll give you, that if there is a village of 300 families, on an average, every 300 family village will have about 100-150 bicycles. And when you have 150 bicycles, you have 300 tires. And those 300 tires get punctured sooner or later. So if you start creating a puncture repair shop between two villages, you find some people employed. If you start finding out cobblers, you do the cobbler job. If a person start roaming with a sewing machine on a cycle, that person can go to many villages and do the sewing work. This is something we've been doing in a big way. When we make presentation, we don't talk about this particular initiative, but this is a time when we are actually back full-fledged on this particular initiative, because an opportunity, as I'm saying that with all this distress, let's look for the opportunity. The opportunity in the villages right now is that a large number of talented people, the plumbers, the carpenters, the mistris, the masons, have actually now gone back to the villages. I remember in Saharsa area, we were working till last year for one work, and there was one institution which gave a water body, water filter there. And for almost 1 year, that water filter was not working because there was no plumber. And the nearest plumber was about 80 kilometers away. With this entire reverse migration, now the villages have the talent, whatever was needed. So if all of us put in our efforts in bringing, village to the map, or what the village communities deserve, because at the end of the day, we all are in debt right now, especially in this country, across the globe, but especially in this country. So the debt is from the farmers on us. I mean, every single person who has been able to survive in this particular disaster is basically because of a farmer. Because that person has been growing, because that person has not been getting minimum wages, because that person has been subsidizing our food for years, for decades. I think that is the only reason we have been able to survive. It's very simple. We couldn't survive just because of internet, but also because of the roti and chawal which we got. So I think it's high time that we pay it back. It's not about giving back, but it's about paying back. This is just, this is how the initiative is scaling up. I'll finish it fast so that we have more time for the, Q&A or all. There is an existing pipeline which is already spread over in 23 states with this work. I'm sure it will go further. And we are tying up with all kind of, organizations to do this. So there are 3-4 verticals. One vertical is taking care of the mountain communities, which are the northeast states, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand, and all that. A second community which we are talking about is the missed out or ignored community, which I just named, the sex workers, transgenders, HIV positives, people with disability. The third important vertical which we are looking at is also the art, craft, artists, musicians, because there are no shows happening, there are no products happening. So if you go to Purulia in West Bengal, you will find that they used to make, they are the world famous mask makers. They make a certain kind of mask, but now there is no taker for that, and even those artisans are really somehow starving. So we are coming up with certain initiatives. Look up to the Facebook and website often, where we are actually trying to see that how, with a lot of dignity, these artists get support, and they also give something back to the society, because there's a lot of self-respect. It's just unfortunate that the musical shows are not happening. That is the reason the world's best possible musician in West Bengal, in any other area, has no job and also has no food right now. This is again the bigger disaster which we are now again working. So Cyclone Amphan has really devastated many districts of West Bengal, including the city of Kolkata. So far 72 deaths they've reported, but it's just coming up further. Large number of areas are still not accessible, and we need to understand that normally such kind of disasters used to happen in isolation. This area is devastated in the middle of already ongoing lockdown and other disaster, which was COVID. So this is a top-up, very devastating thing. It's not in isolation, and that is why there is a much larger impact, in this area. And it's extremely complicated because these are two different kind of disasters. One disaster which says that be away from each other, and the second disaster which says that come together and let's remove this tree. So it has become very complicated for even for all of us now in that area, that how do you really work there. So I will stop here. I think just wanted to give you the brief, just wanted to open up the subject, not only the distress, but also we need to understand that there is an opportunity for all of us to work more and more in the village India, and make sure that the way I migrated from the Dehradun, I never migrated by compulsion, I migrated by choice. So this is a chance to bring correction in this country, where only the people who migrate by choice they migrate, but no one migrates in compulsion. I think that's the larger hope for all of us. Thank you very much. Open for Q&A, comment, whatever.
Anshu, this is Anand.
Hi Anand. Hi.
Just 2 more minutes for you to say what is it that specifically as individuals we should be doing, and 2, if you have 2 or 3 immediate points besides the cash transfer that the government can do. You mentioned 2,000 rupees, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So just mention, just 2 minutes, take extra 2 more minutes and say this, what is it that we should do?
So, Anand, this is one disaster where the solution is that we completely decentralize the operations, right? And local people solve their local problems. The normal hub and spoke model will not work, because so then only we will be able to reduce the human touch and the burden on logistics, as I said it earlier also. So I think as much as possible, reach out to the villages of India. For sure, the organizations who are working there. That is where we need to stop people now and comfort people now, because they've already gone through a very complicated, very tough phase while reaching back to the villages, and villages never had enough opportunities for the work, because if there were enough opportunities, they would have been staying there only. They came to the cities in distress only. Many of them remained here in distress, and they have gone back in distress. So it is for all of us to really focus much more with the organization and the people who are working in the villages of India. That is the most important part. Immediately, the only solution for all of us is to give as much as money possible to the institutions, to the small institutions or the institutions who are working on ground. Please feel free to even transfer direct money in the accounts of people. Fine. I mean, when we go to a temple and mosque and we give such huge amount of money and we don't question anything. I mean, the fact remains that millions of dollars and rupees and the biggest possible buildings of religious institutions are actually closed. Their tijoris are also closed, their money is also closed, their premises is also closed. So I think let's trust each other a lot. Let's not worry about this thing that whether it will go to the right person or not, because unfortunately this disaster has made 70-80% of the population the right person. I mean, we can see that distress in the so-called middle class population of even village India or of the small towns, and they are actually going through a very complicated phase, because if you are financially weaker section, the way society has operated, that we bring them in a queue and start giving something. Right? Whether it is NGO, corporate or government, that's how we have been treating, unfortunately, the people. But the middle class never comes in the queue. There are cases with us where we are actually delivering things to them in the night. Because there's so much of self-respect, there's so much of personal thing that they're not even able to come and ask for something. So wherever possible, please feel free to directly transfer the money in the accounts of people as individual, or to the institutions who are working in the grassroots. I mean, that is what the money is needed, because in 3,000 rupees, in 2,000 rupees, about 15 days or so, in 3,000 rupees, that's a normal Gunj thing which we are promoting, that if you spare about 3,000 rupees per family, a family will not die of hunger for almost 25 to 30 days. Because on an average, you need about 100 rupees a day for a family to survive. I mean, that's what we have calculated. That's the amount. And all this process of just giving away a kit for 5 days, 6 days, I do not agree with that. Because the moment you give someone, a 5 kg or 8 kg of ration, which unfortunately most of the government schemes are doing, that is not justified, because what happens is that you get a tick in your data that this village has got it. But 7-8 kg ration will not survive for more than 5-6 days, because it is not the time when they are able to actually have other items to eat. They're solely dependent on what you're giving. They do not have money to buy vegetables or fruits or whatever. So that's what. So Anand, just to sum it up, direct transfer. If you know some people, support the local institutions and the people who are on the ground with money, with material, with your possible contacts. I've been telling people that if you really want to volunteer, do make 2 sheets. One sheet where you just mention and think of every single possible contact you have, and see that how that connect or contact can be of use. Is there someone who is working with a multinational and is holding large number of noodles? Can I really reach out to them and say, boss, this will expire in 3 months. Can you really take out and give it to people? Right? Or someone who is working in the clothing factory or with the exporter, can we say that take out everything which is lying in your godown and let the mask be made out of it? So we use all our contacts on one sheet. On the other sheet, I would say every single individual must make a note of your strengths. And why I'm saying strength, I'm giving a general point of view, which I've been saying in all my webinars, that even if you are a singer, you are needed. If you're a painter or artist, you are needed. It's not about dal chawal. It's about millions and crores of people who are confined with the family size of 6 to 8 or 4 in the 60 or 80 square feet of their house. In the country which has huge amount of domestic abuse, domestic violence, sexual abuse, mental health issues, large number of people in this country used to survive because of the public spaces, howsoever dirty or whatever it used to be, but if you must have seen, large number of people used to sit on the roads, in the small gullies and the lanes, in the small parks. Every single thing is closed. So when these families are coming out of it, you can see the distress. So if you are a singer, please use your talent. Not just for raising money, but actually reaching out to people and sing for them. If you're a painter, artist, do that. Use that skill. Not everything should be related to just raising money. Money is important, extremely important, because it's a question of hunger. But there are a lot of people who do not have those capacities of giving away money. I am saying that even if you are a person, 10 people can really, 10 people listen to you, and 10 people become comfortable after talking to you for half an hour. Pick up a phone, talk to them. Even that's a big service right now. Just stand with each other. I mean, I was very angry with some of my doctor friends. I was telling them that, listen, we do not have PPE kit. We don't know anything about health disaster. Still the civilians, the normal common people were out. But if you see the medical sector, large number of doctors who have been working in the government medical systems, they are on the roads, but not the private doctors. How easy it was for a private doctor to go out of his house, put a small table, and say anyone can come, stand 3 feet away, and I will listen to you and give my samples. It was the easiest task, because from my childhood, I have been listening this ki aadhi bimari to doctor ki shakal dekh ke dur ho jati hai. That half of your disease is over if you see the face of a doctor. All of us know that. So even that comfort that what a doctor can give, I cannot give. That no, you do not have COVID, you go back and take rest. If a doctor says, and if I say, when the doctor says, it is much more powerful. So this is a time, please remember that this disaster is still unfolding. We are entering in a new world. Unfortunately, a lot of people think, the lockdown is about a date. In India also, everyone is thinking like that lockdown is a date. Lockdown is not a date. Lockdown is till the time, as I always say, when I can go and, hug people freely. That's what I used to do. Lockdown is till the time when an average person in this world is back to their own jobs and start earning for themselves. So we are in for a fight, for a struggle, for a much longer time. It'll go on. So I think let's just start working on our strength and start using those strengths. And for all of us who are listening here, the strength is not just raising money. Please understand that. There are hundreds of other strengths which all of us have. Let's use every single strength, and let's understand that we are for sure privileged, and it's time to certainly give back. In terms of government, Anant, I would say that the first major task which we, I think as a nation we messed up, is that people were forced to walk. Let's remember, now people will not stop. Nothing can stop them, because if a mother has decided that she will walk 500 kilometers taking her kid on that suitcase, which many of you must have seen that picture, you cannot stop that mother. And top of all, my simple question as a human being, not as someone who is trying to work or something, is that when we are in a problem, what do we look for? We look for the people whom we love. We look for our parents, we look for our kids. Most of us are comfortable because we are there with our families. So if a financially weaker person is trying to go back to his family or her family, why are we saying that they are escaping? They are not escaping. They are just looking for a comfortable place. Why so many people have been saying again and again कि कम से कम हम मरेंगे तो अपनों के साथ में. At least we will die with our own people. Why are we not understanding the sentiments of those people? How come police is beating them left, right, and center? What is their crime? How come a lot of people shunted out their maids? where was a risk from a maid? Rather, maid was at a risk because you were roaming around outside. Maid was inside the home. So I think I'm raising much more bigger questions that how do we really relook at the life the way we have been living this life. For government, I think the important part right now, just two parts. One is that we need to arrange the transports as affordable as possible, as early as possible, to make sure that people go back home. They will go back home, and then when they come, that's their issue. And second, I think all the godowns which have food, the Food Corporation of India to whatever, that food was actually kept and secured for emergencies only. And this is a time when we actually make the PDS system much more robust. We cannot wait for the ration card, which will be used pan-India after a year, because the immediate need is today. People have already suffered for 2 months. So now when we talk to them tomorrow, it is not tomorrow. It is not today. It is 2 months plus 1 day. So the need is absolute urgent. All our food go down. So all our food thing must tackle the problem of hunger now, and hunger is a problem. Let's not deny that. Hunger is a problem.
Okay, Anshu, I'm just trying to club quite a few questions that have come up. One is many people have said they have various skills. They want to, clinical psychologists, counselors, how teachers, they are all asking if their skills can be put to any good use, number one. And number two is how can we help you long term? This is a continuous process. And also somebody has asked if the donations can be directed to specific projects, specific programs.
So a couple of things. One is that, whatever skill you have, I think spend about 3-4 days in finding a client for yourself to start with. Okay. I think these are the extra efforts which we all need to make. Reach out to people and very humbly tell them that this is what I can do. Lot of institution will not be able to accommodate every single request right now, because this entire process has actually derailed a lot of development work or important work which was happening. So someone who was working on mental health, someone who was working on domestic abuse or sexual abuse, someone who was working on education, health, all the people working in whatever thing they were working, all of them are now working on hunger and starvation. So that has become the need of the hour. So I'm pretty sure that not every institution will be able to accommodate as of now, but keep in touch with people, try to look for people, and even if your skill is used for 2 people to start with, and then it becomes 20 and 200, is absolutely fine. Do not depend on a particular organization to give you all the solutions. There are, fortunately, especially the social media is full of lot of good organizations who are trying to work. Write a small mail and see how it happens. And if nothing happens in the next 4, 5 days, 6 days, please write to us, and we'll see. Just write to us at mail@koon.org, and we'll try to see if we can really connect with the right people. The second part, Ramya, was short-term and long-term.
Yeah.
This is the first time when we are actually, as Goonj, we are talking about money. We never used to talk about money in this way, because 2 things happened in this disaster. This is the first disaster for us also, which is pan-India. Otherwise, as I said, if there is a disaster in Kerala, people from all across the country were there to support. B, our strength used to be material. We used to collect crores and crores rupees worth of material which people used to give. In the last 2 months, we have not been able to collect material from people because of all kind of issues which are related to COVID. So a huge amount of the stress has come on the financial resources. The third important part, in the initial phase for next couple of months, this is one disaster where you just have to go to a wholesaler, purchase something, and give to someone. I mean, that's what almost every single institution in India is doing right now, because it's related to food, and food is something which you have to buy. So suddenly the money, the need of the money is really gone up. And if I give you a very simple figure and very conservative figure, if you just arrange for simple dal chawal for 2,000 families, just 2,000 families for about 10 days, 12 days. It costs you 20 lakh rupees. Just the cost of the material. It's about 1,000 rupees a family. You can imagine. So that is the scale of the problem, and 2,000 families is actually nothing in this country. So take out as much as resources possible, take out as much money as possible. Specific areas, in certain areas, if these are large, large project, then these can be done. But if it is like 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, then it's very complicated to spend time, money, energy in going to a particular area and do it. But in various cases where the corporates have come together, or even some individuals have come together, we are taking care of large scale areas also. But I think this is also the time that, yes, I agree that we all have sentiments related to our own villages or our own areas, and we always want that if something can happen to that area, write to us. We can find out if there is any partner, someone is working there, for sure. But obviously, such a huge country, we cannot guarantee this, because team is also very, very stressed, and I'm just thankful to my team that despite knowing all the risk and hardcore logistics organization, which was confined to the homes also, we have been able to somehow manage whatever little we could do that way.
Okay. There's also a few questions about how we can ensure that the village economy thrives, and is there anything that we can do to help that self-sufficiency in villages?
So I believe that we need to put in a lot of time, money, energy on the agriculture part to start with. And also we have to see that how it happens that villages start producing something for themselves. So I'll give you a very simple example, right? So like in Bundelkhand in UP and MP, it's a mix of that. We started working with some basket makers and some hand fan makers. And we said that can we just revive this entire thing, because a hand fan is actually needed in the village house. So instead of making a very fancy fan for the city with multicolors and all that kind of thing, can these people make a hand fan which is 50 or 80 rupees or 60 rupees? So not only it supports the village economy, it becomes affordable, and it can actually become a part of your relief kit to go to the people. So you are a buyer also. So how do we think of more and more products which are produced for the villages itself? I think that's our way. That's the way forward. And in next 15 days or 20 days or a month, we will be able to come out with a lot of such stories, that how villages are producing for themselves. I mean, why should they make only the sari which can go to Nalli and we all can buy for a few thousand rupees? Why should they make that sari only? Because whether they make a low cost sari or the high cost sari, their wages unfortunately remain same. It's not that they get a lot of wages. So why can't they produce a sari which is available for 150 rupees or 200 rupees or 100 rupees, and it can be consumed by the village also? They can actually make that sari in much lesser effort. So they can make 2 saris instead of 1 in the same time period. So we will come back with lots and lots of these initiatives. We are launching full-fledged Vapsi initiative. Be a part of it. That's a short-term, long-term initiative for the employment generation in the villages. There are questions on how can you reach out to Goonj. Goonj.org has a solution. I would prefer that just go on Goonj.org page, and there is a donate button, and there are options in that. It is always better to give directly to the institution, so that no agency cut any commission in that. The money directly comes to us. So there are enough options in that. And also Singapore-based Give Asia is up, where you can go and give it. We will send, because now we have email IDs of all. We will also send a small mail with the possible links of it. And Monday, tomorrow, we will release our 7th weekly report, and that also we will send it to you, just to see that what all is happening in this. Earlier 6 reports are already up on Goonj.org.
So I think we have broadly covered most of the questions. If I have missed out anything important, please can you resend? Okay, Preeti has just asked about clothes. Preeti, I'll talk to you about clothes collection. There are some issues in sending clothes, and especially now it's going to be very hard for regular transport to get reinstated and things to reach. So I'll speak to you about that. Other than that, I think yeah. Yes,
so I'm saying from Singapore, don't try to send material and all. Yeah. Within India, we have opened our center since yesterday to receive the material under certain guidelines, obviously. And then we have also decided that whatever old material comes to us, it has to come in a certain way. And then we will keep that material for a few days. And so we have created these different stores, I think just to quarantine the material also. And then after a week or 10 days, we will use this material. There's a question, there is always a confusion in the how to give money, whether you have a foreign passport or Indian passport. I think I can make it very simple that if you are going to Gunj account directly, anyone who has an Indian passport, just go to HDFC Bank link and give. Anyone who has a foreign passport, put the passport number and your nationality and give it only and only through Yes Bank. As of now, Yes Bank is safe because a lot of public money is already invested in that bank now. So it is safe because of Aam Janata, because of people like us.
Okay. One last question, Anshu. Anu would like to know if you want to give us a target for Singapore to raise. Would you like to, any thoughts on that?
So I tell you, this is the first time when we are actually thinking that even if 100 crore comes to Gunj, is less. Our annual report is hardly about 30-35 crore rupees. You can imagine. So and my team and a lot of my friends used to tell me earlier, especially my friend, that Anshu, now Gunj should come in that 100 crore. Everyone has aspiration. And it was never my aspiration. I always used to say, no, we have to operate in 30-35 crore, not more than that. But this time we just don't know. I mean, we can only feel sad, we can feel hopeful, whatever. But we exactly know that as of now, we are not able to do anything except buying and giving, So it's a question of hunger and all that. So I think you fix up the targets yourself for as individual, as an institution, as a country, as fellow citizens. You fix up, but do remember that it is absolutely different from any other disaster we have handled as a world. I mean, a lot of these youngsters, who come on my talks and they are very worried because they're running their own institution and they're talking about, sir, what will happen to in terms of sustenance and all. And I'm being very upfront in telling them that, boss, first we need to survive and then we need to sustain. So very important for all of us is that we all survive and we stand with people, as many people as we can, so that they survive. Sustenance and whatever happened 2 months later, we will meet again and we can discuss. But someone who is looking at hunger on a daily basis with such a huge team and such beautiful institutions all across who are working as partners, my target, I'm not talking about money and all. I mean, yes, we decided, we calculated, and we said that even if it is 100 crore, it is not enough. By saying 100 crore, it doesn't become 100 crore. We all know that. But whosoever is thinking whatever, if you're thinking of 500, think of 5 lakh or 5,000. If you're thinking of whatever, and I'm saying that it's not just Gunj. Okay, Gunj is just one small tiny effort. Whosoever, wherever you feel comfortable, be absolutely fine, free to do that, because as a common citizen, our larger role is that people do not suffer. It doesn't matter whether it happens through Gunj or it doesn't happen through Gunj. Who cares? Wherever you feel comfortable, but no money should be there which is stuck somewhere. It needs to be used in the next few months. That's the most important part. Give only to the people where it can be utilized in the next few weeks or next few months.
Awesome. Anshu, thank you. As always, you have given us lots of food for thought. You've packed your punches. So we all should remember that it's paying back time. and not giving back time. I think that's a very, very valuable insight at the way at which we are going to look at participating and standing with the people in India and helping them, get through this crisis. Thank you so much. I'm sure people probably you have more questions or you want to donate, or you can get in touch with us. The Bridgeable team is in Singapore. And of course, you can get in touch with Goonj directly. And as Anshu says, there are many, many wonderful initiatives. And this insight has given us the impetus to act quickly and immediately. Thank you all. Thank you, Anshu, so much. And a lot of people have asked for the PPT and the recording. So if you could please share with me, I can in turn share with them.
We'll do that. And thank you, Ramya, Damayanti, Shobha, all of you, and all the people who've taken out time to listen to this. And let's be hopeful, and let's be, I think all of us need to, we'll keep talking. Even my Facebook always, keep sharing something which is not so good, because I think we should also not, remain in some dream situation where because the media hardly covers things, these days. So it's extremely important to, next to the reality, and we need to understand that it's not that the MACD is opened or the KFC is opened and the life is normal. No, it is not. Our life might be normal a bit.
Froze a bit, luckily only towards the end.
Good. I think nothing more to say. I think there was some connection problem here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
all the best to all of you on the team on the ground. Anshu, bye everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.